Jay here, Stretford, Paddock. This is Paddock Live. That's Joe Smith.
You wish.
Yes, it is. It's here. It's happening, and we've got loads to talk about because January's nearly here, isn't it? Yeah,
Christmas.
Which means, well, there's that small distraction from the real important business. Footy, transfers, signings.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ingoings, but outgoings.
Outgoings as well. Rangnick getting his house in order. Yes, we could be set for a summer spending spree.
Or a winter one.
Or winter one. It's not summer, is it? No. It's January's and winter, isn't it?
Yeah.
Thank you. Make sure you get involved in the chat, get involved in the comments, hit that like button, give us a like, a share, and a subscribe and all that business. Yes, you can see from the graphic there, Rangnick and Murtagh will discuss transfers. Rangnick and football director John Murtagh will discuss potential incomings and outgoings after Christmas, and a midfielder is already top of United's list.
Makes sense.
Does make sense, and one of the names being bandied about is Frankie de Jong. Now, I had this in my news the other day, and it seems like it was one of them where you look at it and you go, Barca, really? Would they sell him? I mean, it's not going great now in a minute, is it?
No.
Would Xavi let someone like Frankie de Jong go? But there's a couple of sort of, interesting parts to this. One is that Barca, apparently, and again, it's all, rumours, conjecture and stories coming out of Spain, want some money. They want to get some funds to buy other players. They haven't got much, have they? They haven't got much, and they haven't got a lot to sell. You look at some of their prized assets, they've just brought in Memphis. Yeah. Ousmane Dembele's out of contract in the summer, so they're not going to get anything for him. Frankie de Jong is probably the most high-profile one they can actually get a bit of cash for.
Pedri would be another one.
Pedri's a good shout, sorry.
But like a lot of their big players that still play for him, PK, Alba, Busquets, they're all the wrong side of 30.
You're not going to get anything for them, really. No.
Maybe Ter Stegen would be one you could get a bit of money for, but de Jong's right near the top of
that
list.
De Jong is probably, bringing, 50 million, whatever, gets you some funds to bring in someone else. You can see there, United reportedly willing to offer 47 million for the highly rated 24-year-old, but Barcelona likely to set their fee higher. Yeah, I think 50 million's, I know they're in a bit of hardship, but that's testing the waters a bit too much. There is a school of thought, perhaps, because Barca...
Isn't all school a school of thought, Jay?
No, you can have university of thought.
That's still a school, though, isn't it?
All right, you can have library of thought.
Nice.
Yeah, thanks.
Not actually the point I was making, but carry on.
Yeah, okay.
You went the other way, because I said all schools and you said all thoughts, which is interesting. But yeah, I like that.
Go on, glad we
There is a school of thought that says what, Jay?
It says that because they want Cavani, and because Cavani doesn't play much football, and don't get involved in the comments just yet, because I love Edinson Cavani, but because they want him, he doesn't play a lot of football for Manchester United. We did bring in Ronaldo, which we weren't expecting to do. We have got... I know Cavani's more of an out-and-out striker, but we've got Greenwood, we've got Ronaldo, we've got Rashford, we've got Ilanga who's into the fold. You can maybe throw in Martial there if you wanted to.
Yep.
There's lots of options there, and it's like, can United afford to maybe offload Cavani if it brings you in a midfielder who would play every game for Manchester United?
You get 6 months extra out of Cavani or 5 months extra out of Cavani. We get de Jong. And you get 50 million as well.
Yeah, we'd have to give him money, of course, as well. We wouldn't just be able to do a swap deal. But maybe that could happen, maybe not.
You know what? I'd take him. He's an excellent player. Yeah. I think he's not looked quite as good as he had done at Barca, but everyone's shit in the bed, so there's no real surprise.
So weird,
he's an incredibly talented player. I remember, did you watch the, I think it was the Nations League semi-final when England played Holland 2-3 years ago, and he completely dominated the game, just holding the ball, very Busquets-esque. That kind of great dribbler, very good on the ball, very good passer, never looks flustered, always looks composed. I'd love him at United, but it feels unlikely, doesn't it?
Was he a defender to start with? Was he?
Delict.
Was him and Delict not a sort of partnership there though? He moved forward a little bit. Was that? Am I just imagining that?
Maybe, not as far as I'm aware, but perhaps.
Like when they were younger, I might have just imagined all that. To be fair, Ronan Earls, welcome to the academy. Thanks for your support. Check out as well the 12 days of Paddock.
Yes,
you can win lots of prizes, including a PlayStation 5 for our members. We do extra content as well for the members. So you, obviously on the channel, the main channel, you get all the usual videos and stuff. We do a little bit extra for the members, and you can win a PlayStation 5, amongst other things, including a book by United's 5th best ever keeper.
Interesting.
Tariq Mohammed says Joey's mint. I agree.
Thank you. What's your favourite mint? Do you like peppermint? Do you like spearmint? When you're getting like a chewing gum, do you like an ice? Like what do you like? You don't have chewing gum, I know, but what kind of mint do you like?
I like. Is it Treebo soft mints?
Soft mints, they're good.
Yeah, Mentos. They're
mints.
Yeah, I like Mentos.
Good lad.
I really like them. 20 Legend says, Frankie de Jong, talk about dream signing. Knitting says, where is Adam? Enough with Joe? Oh, sorry, no, enough with Joe. I beg your pardon. Sorry, I read that wrong. I wasn't going to read it out.
No, it's all right. He'll be on the channel very soon, don't worry about it. He was there doing fan cams on Sunday.
And there's also someone slagging off Adam and praising you, but I won't read that either.
You know, that's good. A bit of both balance.
Yeah,
balance. The BBC on here.
FDJ is as CDM as CDM gets, says 20 Legend. He'd literally be my number one target over Rice or anyone else. Mintberry Crunch says Murray Mints. Fano says choc chip mint ice cream is mint.
Oh, I agree with that. My favourite ice cream, that. Mint choc chip.
I love that. That's quality.
It's good, isn't it?
Ronan Earl says, how is Martial still at United? He offers nothing, especially when you compare him to the alternatives. I'm at the stage where I'd rather see some of the youth get a chance. And Wurzel Daniel says, Joe and Jay Paddock these days, lol. Do you want anything else, really? No. Just listen to any of them losers.
Who wants to get on? Jim White. Sky Sports.
Listen, there's loads of other videos as well. Check out Maram and Steve doing a bit of a tactical analysis of Ralph Rangnick and the impact he's had at United already. It's really good. Go and check that out. Should we move on?
Oh, yeah. Let's move right on.
Also, as well, Matic Penadaski, welcome to the Academy. Thanks for your support, new member. This one is very left field, Joseph. I'm not going to lie to you.
Ryan Giggs.
No, even more left field than that. It's been reported in the Independent, and this is that United could be interested in Rudiger from Chelsea. It says here,
I like this.
Antonio Rudiger is out of contract in the summer, and United have reportedly joined Spurs and Real Madrid in the race for him, but he's interested in a move away from the Premier League.
I'd love to have him. Yeah. I think on his day he's a really, really good centre back, and he'd be a great option at United.
Does he get into our team? If everyone's fit, Varane, Maguire, both fit, does Rudiger?
The problem is with Rudiger is there have been times when he's been comfortably better than Maguire, but there have been times, for instance, decent chunks of last season where he was pretty poor, like not always getting in their team, decent but not great, can be inconsistent. So I think maybe on his day he would, but then Maguire on his day is an excellent defender. He'd be a great option to have though. He's obviously very good, and also let's be honest, like you said with Cavani, Varane at the moment is a Man United player, but doesn't seem to play for us a lot. No. So that's not his fault, but we could do with some options in there. And maybe Lindelof would be the sort of player that United might look to get a bit of money for if we are going to. When you think of the players who we could sell, who would be available to leave, Cavani's leaving anyway. Pogba's probably leaving anyway. We don't have that many assets that could be sold. I think you could probably get 40 million for Victor Lindelof. I'm not saying we should be selling him, but if we had a free alternative coming in, it might work. And I think he's a very good player. But if he wants to go abroad, then what are you going to do? Would you have him?
Probably not. I'll be honest with you. I feel like it's a sideways move. I don't think he's as good as Varane. No. And I think there's paper-thin margins over him and Maguire. Yeah. And I think that it's easy to hate on Maguire because he's not having a great season. Yeah. But he's not a bad player.
No, not at all.
And I think, a few months ago when Maguire was in team of the tournament for the Euros.
You'd have picked him over Rudiger.
Yeah, and now it's like, actually, Rudiger, he's probably better. You look at Chelsea's defensive record, it's phenomenal. But it's not just that Rudiger, although he plays his part. So, I don't know. It's not one where I go, 100% get him. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's one where I'm like, if he comes, you won't be going, why have we brought Antonio Rudiger? No. Because he's a very good player. Yeah. But he's not, I don't know, I'm not quite as keen on it as other signings, potential signings. Certainly not as keen as I would be on signing someone like Frankie de Jong, who I think we need. Yeah, exactly. Definitely. Ronan Earl says just a more consistent buy in my opinion. I mean, if he's definitely a more fit buy in terms of injuries. Also, Just No says, what shampoo does Jay use? I don't use shampoo. I've not got any.
What do you wash your head with? Face wash. Is it technically just a big face?
Yeah, it's just a big face that needs washing and shaving. Yeah, that's all it is. One big face. One big chin, actually. It's just a big chin.
So really, the chin goes down and then round the back.
It goes right. It's basically my chin is about 3/4 of my head.
I like that.
So
one big face.
Yeah, one big face. Nitin says Frankie de Jong, then Ten Hag, please. I don't think most people would be buzzing with that one, wouldn't they? Nice. If they brought in Ten Hag during the summer. I think he's most people's preferred manager. Is he yours? Is he the one that you'd like to see take over?
Of the non-Rangnick options, yeah. I'm not saying I would prefer Rangnick right now, but my first choice would be let's see how the season goes, and then. But of the alternatives, Ten Ten Hag would be my first pick.
Yeah, definitely. I think, from what I see in the comments and stuff online, a lot of people seem to be mad keen on him.
Yeah.
Like you say, they'll have to wait and see where we end up in the summer, whether Ralph Rangnick sort of hinted. He said I could recommend myself.
Yeah, exactly.
So you never know what could go on there. But yeah, Antonio Rudiger, sorry, it's doubtful, isn't it? Far under doubtful. Listen, stranger things have happened. We have got players from our rivals before, and he is out of contract. We could offer him a load of money if we really wanted him.
Silvestre went to Arsenal.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Forget that.
And he was our best ever defender. So, do you know what I mean? You never know. MXNNY says, we're all talking about Varane staying fit, but does anyone think we'll see Jones start a game for us ever again? That's a fair question. Do you, Joe?
I don't think so. Because I think he'll probably go at the end of this season, and we're not going to... I mean, now we've got Villa in the FA Cup. The chances of the next round was getting a team that's, would you consider sort of dead cert. He can't play tomorrow because he's not in the Champions League squad. We could have played in that game maybe, but he can't. So how many more games are we going to have where you can play your sort of third string centre-backs before he leaves? Probably not. We could get a, Barrow or someone in the next round of the FA Cup, but the further you go through, the less likely that is. So probably not would be my answer to that.
Yeah, 100%. And even all right, we've got a Barrow, fair enough, but even if you've got like a Championship side, you might think, I'm not risking that.
You'd still go buy in even Mengi over Jones.
Yeah, I feel like, Mengi's in the Champions League squad for starters, and Jones isn't, so that shows where they are in terms of the pecking order. I know Jones has had injury problems. So, yeah, I agree with you completely. I think Jones might have missed his opportunity to get any game time this season. And I think it's best for all concerned if he moves on. I think he's become a figure of fun, and he's Phil Jones. Some people hate on him. I don't hate on him. He's actually getting his name sung by the Stretford when he was warming up.
Good.
I just think it's best for all concerned if he just moves on. He can move on and say, look back and say I won a few trophies at United and a load of England caps. It wasn't a complete disaster, but I think for him in his career, he needs to move sooner rather than later.
Speaking of Champions League squads, by the way, we can't really give too much away, but a hell of a lot of very but a hell of a lot of very sort of fringe youngsters are going to be in that squad tomorrow, from what we're hearing.
From what we've heard, some interesting, info on the squad, like Joe's saying, and we could see, some youngsters who we've not seen a lot of.
Yeah.
Well,
we've never seen
the first team anyway. Getting a chance, which would be great if it comes to fruition, which I think it will. Rebecca Jade O'Sullivan says, "How come the other top six get PEZ teams and we always end up with Premier League
ridiculous?"
Teams? You were saying you did a bit of research on this, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, I say I was doing the research. I saw someone else's research on Reddit, but it was all of United's draws in the League Cup and the FA Cup in the last 3 years. So that's something like 12 draws or something. It's been based on the games we've won. And I think of the sort of, let's say it is 12, I can't remember the exact number, but literally like 3/4 of them were Premier League sides, or 4/5 of them were Premier League sides, whereas City had like 2/3 of them were non-Premier League sides. Some of them were like League Two, Conference, like Northern Premier and stuff. Yeah. And United's are consistently more difficult than certainly City. City's is the joke one, but City's happens every single time. Who have they got this time again?
Swindon, isn't it?
So, like, what is going on? Villa is like probably the 5th or 6th most difficult one we could have had, especially with the
beat us already this season at Old Trafford.
Yeah, and also factoring in the knowledge that we are playing them again that week. So now we've got to beat Villa twice in a week, which I know it's probably no different to playing them 6 months apart, but for some reason it feels like we're less likely to beat them twice in a week than we are twice in 2 months separated. I know that's maybe stupid logic, but they've got a week to sort of figure us out. So it's ridiculous, and it's a shame that we can't, like I said, maybe not Phil Jones, but some more of the sort of peripheral players get a game against a Cheltenham or someone like
It would have been nice to see that, because there are players there that deserve a game or two, like the likes of Elanga. I know he came on, but he's not had much of a chance. You've got your Elangas, your Diallos, your Mengi's, your Hannibals, players like that, who you'd like to see get a bit of an opportunity in the first team. It's just, as you pointed out, with tough draws like that, the fact the Champions League there's only one game left in it, which is obviously where you can use your fringe players, unless you're going to go into the second round, the next round of the Champions League, and win 10-0 in your first leg, then obviously you're not going to get that opportunity again, which is a bit of a shame.
And weirdly enough, in the last 2 years, we've had Villa twice in a week, we've had West Ham twice in a week, and Brighton twice in a week. What are the odds of that? What are the odds of playing the same team 2 times in a week when the teams to choose from, there's like 70
Wolves
teams?
As well?
We did Wolves, that was 2 or 3 years ago, but Brighton was last season, West Ham was this season, and Villa is this season. That's
strange,
mad, isn't it? Yeah, anyway.
Warm balls
I think they're magnetised together.
That's what I'm telling you, Joe. Christopher Singh says, why have United put the Villa game on ballot? £58 question exclamation mark. Yeah, it does seem steep that to pay.
What, minimum?
I'm not sure. I mean, yeah, that's excessive, that, isn't it? Nathan Askew says, Jay, if you had to pick United players' hairstyles, which would you choose? I'd obviously historically go with Fellaini.
You would have gone for that?
Yeah.
Can't get better than that, because that's the most hair.
That's the most hair. So hair per square inch, that's the mostest.
It's dense as well.
Dense, thick. Now, current team, again, if I'm going to keep with that sort of motif, I'm going to probably go with Hannibal Mejbri. Great hair, fantastic, standing out, people noticing you. Look at Jay there with his new Barnet.
People want you to say Pogba, don't they? Because it's the most sort of spectacular.
Yeah, it is. But
it's dyed, it's lines in it, it's got patterns on it, it's got flames on it. You see Sanchez the other day got a little like heartbeat pulse on the back.
Yeah, nice.
Something like that I'd like to see. I think I could see you with a Cavani.
Really?
Me and you looking with like the same haircut next to each other.
Like that.
That'd look great.
And Alice band and all that as well. Yeah, I could go for that. Yeah, Marcus has got like a blonde bit on top, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Quite like that.
Do you?
Yeah, I can have a bit of that. So maybe, or maybe a Cavani. Or maybe you could just go like complete left field, Phil Jones or a Donny.
Yeah, Ashley Young.
Nemanja.
Yeah, that'd be good.
There's a hairstyle you can set your watch to.
Yeah.
No messing about.
Just crisp as you like that.
Exactly. We've got producer Callum saying next point maybe in the comments.
Sorry.
Yes, he does make a good point, to be fair. Loan move for Henderson. Dean Henderson, who's become the forgotten man of the goalkeeping world. He could be up for a loan move in January. Ajax interested in Henderson loan move. Henderson is still determined to establish himself as United's #1 keeper, but he's prepared to leave to get playing time.
See, well, Rangnick said he was very, what was the word he used? Not optimistic, but where you really push yourself forward and you want to be...
Forthright, confident.
Fucking word. When you expect high things from yourself.
Oh, right.
Fucking someone put it in the comments. Anyway, so he's obviously had a chat with him. He said that, he is
ambitious,
that way. Ambitious,
driven.
Ambitious is the word.
Ambitious.
Very ambitious. And that seems like the sort of thing that Solskjaer might have told Rangnick. Because you could tell that, he said that Solskjaer had spoke to him about Fred.
Yeah.
He's probably gone through the whole squad. What's he like? What's he like off the pitch? What's his personality like? He's probably told him that he's particularly ambitious. Which means he don't want to stick around being number 2, which I kind of understand. He's not had a chance, that would be my worry.
You look at it and you go, there's a World Cup a year away.
Yeah.
I could be on that plane. I could go to that World Cup.
Yeah.
I'm as good as, Ramsdale or Pickford.
Yeah.
Not in terms of keeping ability. I think he is.
Yeah,
Everyone
I agree.
raves about Ramsdale because he just makes simple saves look spectacular.
Yeah.
And Jordan Pickford, there's always been a little, maybe not for England, but at club levels, slight question marks around him.
Big
so you
question
never
marks.
know. You could gate crash that party if you have a sort of the season like what you had at Sheffield United, something like that.
The problem is, though, I don't think a great season at Ajax gets him in that frame. I don't feel as though the eye of the England camp is strong enough on the Dutch league. I think Sancho was not punished by that, but he was let down by that to a certain extent. His England career isn't what it should have been because... ridiculous numbers in the Bundesliga don't seem to translate to caps.
No.
And I think clean sheets in Holland probably don't either.
I think you make a very good point. I think there's a lot more attention on the Premier League. We've seen it previously with players where this has been going on historically. I remember years ago when I was a kid and Chris Waddle was I think he was at Monaco, was it? Or Marseille, sorry. And he was tearing it up.
Yeah.
And they loved him. They called him Magic Chris, I think, because he was so good. And he once after the 1990 World Cup, he just fell out of favour. And it was just like, I think it was Graham Taylor didn't even look at him. This going back obviously 30 years or whatever, but it's always been that thing, if you're doing it abroad, do you get as much recognition, as much attention, and as much credit as if you're doing it in the Premier League? Probably not.
No.
So yeah, it would be a gamble. Who knows? It's one of those as well. I always feel like if you're Dean Henderson, David De Gea's having a good spell, but he's always got one in him.
Yeah.
And I always think he's not as secure as you would expect. You look at David De Gea, he's been here for 9 years, whatever. He's he's won a title, he's won trophies. He's at times been played 4 or 5 times Player of the Year. He's been outstanding at times, but there's always been these little moments where you go, actually, a bit roping. If he has two or three games that aren't at the top level, Ralph Rangnick may go, okay, I'll give you a chance, and then it's up to Dean Henderson to take it. So I don't feel last season he did okay, and in fact he did better than okay, he did well. but it wasn't amazing.
No.
And I think he
did make a few mistakes,
yeah,
didn't
he needed to be a bit better
Yeah.
to end that conversation.
Yeah.
And I think had he not got ill, he probably would have been first choice, but it wasn't like, that's it, you nailed it on.
No.
Because like you say, you go back to the Liverpool game at Old Trafford, Sheffield United game away. There was these mistakes where you go, should have done better there. There was one in Europe as well, was it in Roma? I can't remember what it was.
Yeah.
Where you think you could have done a bit better there. So it's still, the jury's still out for me on both goalkeepers. I think they've both got question marks around them. I know that De Gea is obviously, ahead of him in the pecking order, he's having a good season, but there's still that little thing of maybe the door's open for Dean Henderson or another goalkeeper to come in.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe even Tom Eaton. No.
I can't believe he's so old, Tom Eaton.
What, he's 35, isn't he?
Yeah,
He's a young man.
35.
Young man.
Yeah, that's
Life
true.
begins at 40, Joe.
What's next, Jay?
Early team news. I think Rangnick's confirmed, talking to Dean Henderson, that he's going to start. And also, everyone's favourite Dutch midfielder.
Everyone's favourite misfit.
Yes, Donny van der Beek. Says Varane and Cavani missing out despite being back in training. Martial has aggravated an old injury, so also missing out. He probably could have done with a game. But Henderson and Donny are going to be in the starting 11.
Yep, as is
Makes
Matic.
sense. Matic is captain, isn't he?
Yep.
So I think we all have him in our team.
Yeah.
Matic. I think we all had all of them in our team.
Yeah. Obviously, that suggests that Maguire won't start, but...
Yes, which again kind of makes sense because this is a dead rubber. It is against a team that, no disrespect to them, aren't very good. The fourth in the Swiss league. We should be able to beat them. I mean, and also, Matic is a very good player. Donny van der Beek's a very good player. Dean Henderson's a very good player. We're not replacing them with children or with, players that are no good.
Yeah.
These are very, very talented individuals.
I mean, we might be replacing them with children.
There might be some children involved, yes.
Yeah.
When I say children, I don't mean 12-year-olds, obviously. But
No.
yeah, you're right, there could be some youngsters playing. Nice little quote there from Nemanja Matic. It's kind of a dream. I'm very proud because of that. And for sure, I take all the armbands to my home, and that one will be framed. Something to like about Nemanja Matic.
I like him.
Just gets on with it, doesn't
player,
he?
Yeah.
Does, and he always seems to be that thing of, no matter, just when you think he's becoming the forgotten man, and people go, we don't need him anymore, you realise you do. He'll put in a performance where you go, actually, he's probably the only out-and-out DM we've got, and he's still got that ability to control the game from midfield.
He can actually pass it and hold the ball.
He can. He can. I know. I always go back to the City game at the Carabao Cup a few years ago, where I think it was 3-1 at half-time. All over us, Bernardo Silva has scored a worldie. Marcus has given us a bit of a lifeline with a late sort of, I think, first half goal. But we were terrible. We were shocking.
Yeah.
And you thought this could be another 5-6-1 or whatever. And Matic came on and just started bossing the midfield, just calmed everything down. I think he's still got a bit of that about him. Yeah. So nice to see him getting his chance to be captain. Yeah. And he obviously is relishing it. We'll move on to Jesse Lingard. Sorry, one sec before we do that. I've just got a couple of comments. Suave Mukherjee says, what's your take on the knockout draw for the Champions League? Who do you think can be a good opponent? For us, looks to be a tough one. Opposition from Spain and Italy, likely. Sam Z as well says Martial and Jones probably sure departures. I agree with that. Have you looked into? I've not even
well, the games are just finishing now, aren't they?
Yeah, so let us know in the chat, in the comments, who we could get.
Yeah, who are the possible, who are the second place finishers that aren't from England or from our group?
Yeah, because I'm not sure. When is the draw? Is it tomorrow?
I don't know.
We know it all there. Just get involved in the comments. We ask
when
you,
it happens, we'll
you tell us. You tell us what's going down. Yeah. You know more than we do, obviously. Jesse, there's a quote from Ralph. He says, everybody has a chance to perform and present themselves. I'm happy to give game time to quite a few of them tomorrow. It's the perfect opportunity to get to know the players. And that's talking about Jesse Lingard. Lingard's been a bit of a weird one, hasn't he? Because he's not been completely forgotten. He's had a few games, scored a couple of goals. Had a bit of a bad moment, didn't he, against Young Boys away. But he's redeemed himself since then, if he did need to redeem himself. Again, though, he's someone who wants to play for England in the World Cup and who can play for England in the World Cup. Did very well.
If he was at West Ham now, he'd be playing for England.
He would.
I think. I don't even think he would have had to keep up that form, which was, I don't think, plausible that he would have done that because he's good, but he's not quite as good and productive as he was at West Ham. But if he was still playing for West Ham, I think he'd be almost certainly in the squad, which makes me, or leads me to believe he will leave United at the end of the season. Because it doesn't make sense for him to stick around. I still don't think, even under Rangnick, he's going to be sort of first or even second choice in any given position. So for the sake of his own, like you said, England career and career generally, I think he probably will go. And that answer's very loose and nondescript and non-committal, isn't it, from Rangnick? Everyone gets it. What do you mean, Lingard? Well, everyone gets a chance. Suggests to me he's not thinking that, he's going to be one of his main men. I think he probably will leave, whether it's in January or at the end of the season. I think, it doesn't pay me to say it, but I wish he could have worked out a bit better for him at United, and he has done some good things already, but I think it's probably for the best, isn't it?
Time for him, yeah, to move. I like Jesse, but I think it probably is. And like you say, obviously, relish is playing for England, and rightly so. Well, not rightly so, I don't really care about it, but he does.
You'd relish it if you were a footballer.
Yeah, but I mean, for me, I'm not trying to be top red here, but I'd obviously, if I had the opportunity, I'd be went to stay United and fight for the place. But I understand the fact if he's not, he's done. You know, he probably thinks he's done enough, and he hasn't got back into the team. We'll move on anyway. Van der Sar has been asked about his name circulating for United. He says, "I'm enjoying myself so much at Ajax. I still have 2 years left here. I want to keep achieving things here with the club, but I'm sure that one day the moment will arrive." So he's been asked about the United job. There's always been this theory that Van der Sar could come in as a sort of CEO or some sort of director of football. Not the manager, a bit more of a administrative role or someone who oversees the football side of things. I think every United fan would be happy with that. Van der Sar, our greatest ever goalkeeper, there's no argument about that anymore. Anyone says anything different is wrong. Obviously got a lot of experience what he's done at Ajax. Has that something about him as a footballing man, obviously. Not a banker, which is who we've had in charge of the footballing decisions in the past. Makes a lot of sense, perhaps makes too much sense for Manchester United Football Club.
It does, and one thing I will say, and my main thoughts on this are, I would like it to happen. He obviously seems keen on it happening at some point down the line. That 2 years corresponds quite nicely with Rangnick's departure. Maybe there could be a sort of dovetail in there, or maybe they could work together, or who knows, the departure from his consultancy role. But also, I don't actually know how good he is at that job. I know that he works at Ajax. Ajax are successful. I don't think anyone here, or anyone watching, or anyone really knows exactly how good Edwin van der Sar is at his job. All we know is he sold us Donny van de Beek, and Donny van de Beek has barely played. Do you know what I mean? I don't know much of his work as the CEO of Ajax. I assume he's good. He seems to be very well spoken. He's highly spoken of. But again, it's one of those, he works for an organisation that's already particularly well structured, has a great history of being well structured, and he's doing well at his job. But, is it just that he's the next United player that we want him?
Probably a little bit of that. Let's be honest.
That's...
If he was like, this is Petr Cech or someone, or, just, Koeman or whatever, he was doing exactly what was going on there, you would not be going, we need to get him in. No. It's the United connection.
Well, maybe that connection helps him in his job at United.
He's a very popular ex-player. Has something about him.
He's kept his sort of gravitas and his air,
gravitas, and was obviously a very intelligent man. Done well at Ajax. He's done well at Ajax, but Ajax, a semi-final of the Champions League and a double in Holland is good, but it's almost like it's not that amazing. Getting to the Champions League semi-final is very good for them, but it's not like they've just smashed it out of the park and you go, oh my God, it's been so amazing, and you have to give him credit for all that. You don't know, do you? There's a bit of the unknown. I would like to send him Van der Sar purely because he's a football man, not just purely because there's United connection there, but I'd prefer him to be involved than the likes of Woodward and Murtagh. I know Murtagh's got a footballing background, but the likes of Woodward and Richard Arnold especially. So I think if Van der Sar's coming in at that level, so he's overseeing everything so you've got the Rangnick if he stays on as consultant, the manager, the Darren Fletcher and John Murtagh, all under Edwin van der Sar. That to me makes lots of sense. Coaching staff additions. Rangnick has confirmed that sports psychologist Sasha Lenz and Chris Armas, are joining the club in the coming days.
Christmas.
Christmas. Fantastic bants there from Ralphie Boy. We had this yesterday, didn't we, on the Paddock podcast. We were talking about this. Steve says he likes all this sort of stuff, doesn't he, Rangnick? He likes to bring in certain people to do certain roles. Sports psychologist is a very important role for him. He's spoken about, you have a physio to look after the physical side. Why would you not have a psychologist to look after the mental side? Which kind of makes sense, doesn't it? It
makes a lot of sense. And it's one of those things where I know United have modernised a lot in the sort of post-Fergie era. Like Van Gaal came in, I think that was the first time we had floodlights at Carrington and stuff, wasn't it? Like some ridiculous things.
Yeah.
We've got that the new pitch that's a kind of a hybrid pitch where before that every winter or by the sort of middle of January, Old Trafford was looking a bit grotty, even into the sort of well into the 2000s. And a lot of areas we have optimised and we have modernised. I think Jose took us a little bit backwards in that regard. He's not a big fan of anything other than people getting a massage and an ice bath after a game. But Rangnick's, weirdly, since he's been doing this for 30 years, he's still very much at the forefront of these things. He says he likes to be cutting edge with things. And why, like you said, why wouldn't you have that? You do have people looking after the physical side, but you're not just a pair of legs with a robot's mind.
No.
You're not just a sequence of, lights flicking on and off and the leg kicks and like it's some input from a keyboard somewhere. The mentality and the mindset of footballers is as important as as the physicality of them.
Yeah.
And the confidence, the ability to, separate off the field things with on the field things, the ability to not lose your head when things go wrong or not lose your head when things go too well. Like, I don't know the full day-to-day workings of a sports psychologist, but why would you not have every single thing you possibly could that might give you 1% there, 2% there, 3% there? Maybe a physio gives you 20%, but if a sports psychologist gives you an extra 3 or 2 or 1, we've got enough money to be spending money on 1% increases. And if they can do that, great.
Agree with all of that. I remember when we spoke to Jesse Lingard when we were Devils, and he told us about the fact he had a psychologist, not a sports psychologist. He got a psychologist. He spoke to him. Obviously, the mental side of things we talk about all the time, but a sports psychologist is obviously dedicated to that particular part of the psyche and dealing with players and helping the team. It does seem a little bit bizarre that we've never gone down that route before.
And the thing with mental health generally in society is it's always a remedial sort of access. You only go to someone if there's a problem.
Yeah.
You only go to someone if you can't handle things, if you've had a breakdown, if.
Yeah.
Whereas what would be nice to work towards in all walks of life, but certainly in these professions where it's so important and they've got so much money, is have someone there all the time, or someone that you check in on periodically, whether you're going through a tough time or not. Because that can make the difference, stopping things and targeting things as they're happening. Whereas otherwise you have to have a huge sort of meltdown before you get any access to sort of a psychologist or anything. That shouldn't be the way it is. It should be a as you go rather than this sort of remedial, help me out, there's a problem here. And especially, like I said, at a club like United, where the money is not infinite, but whatever, 100 grand a year, whatever he's going to be on, just do it.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, and I think you're right. Prevention is better than cure.
Of course.
Often in those sort of situations. Gonna wrap it up there. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you're not doing already. Let's get to 700,000 subscribers. I mentioned it earlier as well. Go and check out the 12 days of Paddock
giveaway. Christmas
giveaway for our members, where you can win a host of prizes, including a PlayStation 5. Go and check Joe out on Joe Smith 93. You know where to find me, Jay Motti. We'll have the preview up in the morning. Then you're here for the watch along with Ange and Joe McGrath.
And Joe McGrath. Great little lineup we've got going on.
Nice little lineup. We've got Macros of the fan cams as well. So it's all happening. You don't need to go anywhere else. I've been Jay Motti. That's been Joe Smith. This has been Paddock Live. Thanks for watching.